What's up guys, OFSREagle here bringing a brand new video today. Today I'm bringing the series back, my go-to skill jumps. It's been a while since I've done it. I've been kind of busy with some other things obviously, but I'm excited to bring you guys just some helpful insight about skill jumps. And today I'm bringing you the map Eden. I haven't done it before, and normally when you think of skill jumps you don't think of the map Eden, but just from my time playing on it, I do know that there are a certain number of skill jumps that I do heavily rely on when playing on it, and that they do give me an advantage when in a game. I'm just going to go and show you the ones that I find useful. I'm not going to go over every single skill jump on here, but the ones that I know help me a lot. So probably the first one that I'm going to go over that I probably use the most is this guy right here, from blue yard up to blue window. A lot of times you get stuck bottom mid and you have to get up to a higher elevation, and normally the only feasible route is through catwalk. Low catwalk rather. And then you can get to blue window that way. Honestly, there's a much easier way to go about it. Literally what you're doing, it's very similar to any thrust bump that you do on any other map. I'll explain how it works, but basically you're doing a thrust bump into the canister. I think what's going on is your legs are actually hitting the space between the canister and the wall, or the edge of the brick here, and when you thrust it kind of bumps you, you knock off this and hit this, and it ramps you up to there, right? And a big key secret in order to do it right is you have to hold jump after you do it, or else because right there I didn't hold jump right after I thrusted. This is very similar to Fathom. If you remember my video on Fathom, most pros know how to do it, where you right off spawn you hit that box and it shoots you right up to top mid for camo. It's the exact same structure mechanic. You're holding jump when you do it, and it gives you extra height, and the same applies for here. If you don't, you can do it without holding jump, but if you don't, you tend to not go as high, and so you have to stabilize. It takes up more time. I have a higher success rate when I do hold jump, and then also if you notice, every time I've done it I've been able to pretty much clear the ledge without clambering. That's like the goal. You can still hit it if you stabilize, and if you don't stabilize, but if you have to clamber like there, that's fine. But if you can even do it without clambering, and you tuck your feet under by holding crouch and clear the ledge of the window anyway, that's even better. That's the most efficient way to go about this. You want to aim right about here. I'll do it without like sprinting or thrusting. I'm kind of going right about here, so I'm kind of drawing a line between, you know, this part. I can't shoot or else it'll disappear, but this part of the canister and my right side of that far right ring right here. Okay, and that's kind of my line that I envision, and then I hold crouch as I near the window, and I tuck through. This alone right here is very useful. I mean, it will really cut down on travel time and really throw enemies off guard when they, because normally when you're bottom mid, when they're up here, they don't expect you as a threat. Let's say they're playing to get snipe or something. You can just get up there and then navigate right to snipe. So you make sure you add a full sprint. You jump, thrust, hold jump. If you hold jump while you're thrusting, you're actually going to end up clambering the thing, which doesn't work out. Also notice the angle that I'm approaching it. If you hit too much on your left side, you're going to probably clamber or just completely miss the thing, like that. You want to make sure you kind of, at the last minute, kind of turn your reticle to the left and line it up, and then you'll hit it. Now, one of the next ones, I'm not doing this in any particular order, but this one is pretty small, but I find it to be pretty useful. Whenever there's a fight near pit, sometimes you feel very cornered and like you don't have many escape routes here. When you're fighting in pit, like the best you can do is like cut a sight line out here if you're shooting someone out there, or go this way, and that's about it. Most people have an escape route this way, but a lot of them don't realize there's actually jump and hold crouch and avoid the clamber. Avoid clambering this, or you can clamber it if you want. And then when you're up here, if you're too far in, it won't work. You're gonna get blocked. But if you're far enough to, this side of the pit, you can get up here, and then you can also clamber up to low cap, okay? And so I find that to be useful. Let's say I just grabbed OV, or there's a lot of people and I don't want to be here long. Just being able to do this is really, it will immediately take them, cut off the sight line. They can't shoot at you, and there's no real quick way for them to be able to shoot at you once you do that. And then it puts them at a vulnerable position, because now you have the high ground. You have a lot more tools at your disposal. You can push forward through to the low cat stairs if you want. I do find it to be not as useful, simply because they can often back up and shoot at me from right there as I'm doing that. That has happened to me before, where they just start like shooting me right there. Right here, that sight line is pretty much cut off the whole time. Another jump that I find really useful is this. It's identical to the one at Blue Yard, except from Red Yard to Red Nest. I don't use it as much, but it is useful to know, and it has helped, especially with strongholds. This is universal, like for any game mode, even for oddball, it's great. But for stronghold specifically, with a stronghold being up at Red Nest, this is definitely useful for just being able to quickly, let's say you have to resecure a stronghold. If you let's say an enemy just died and you want to beat the enemy from coming in and securing the capture of that stronghold, you can quickly get in there. Now, most people will do this, and so that takes up a little more time. If you're already next to this, that's probably going to be your best bet by doing that. But if you're running, it just shaves off about a half second just by doing this. Okay, and you can quickly get in there and reset it. I find that to be useful. Again, it follows the same structure as the other one by Blue Yard, except you're not running directly at it. You're running towards the side. And so if you notice, this is where I'm kind of like aiming for, and your feet knock off the top of the canister and then off of this, I'd say, and then you're going to thrust, hold jump again. If you don't hold jump, sometimes it'll really mess up your height. Like right there, I couldn't hit it. I could have stabilized, but I noticed by holding jump, you have a higher success rate with just hitting this more consistently. And you shouldn't have to stabilize if you hold jump as well. Another jump that I'll do pretty often in game, this is really weird and odd to do in game, but it's a spring jump, and it's actually up here. Not a lot of people know about it, but you can actually spring jump and clamber up here. There you go. And not a lot of people expect it. This can be can be used, especially even with doubles. This I've definitely used in doubles a lot, because there aren't as many people on the map. You're not as likely to be seen going for the jump, and because of how big the map Eden is and on doubles, people do get do search out more. They're more explorative when playing, and so I've found that if I can communicate with my partner and we're like trying to lure them over to red side, I could be sitting here. The only sightline they're going to have is either from Red Yard or from security. And not often will they be... I've had many people just walk right past me because they don't think to look up for it, right? If they're coming from red side, they're not going to see you. You can often drop and get the back smack. To do this, you're just doing a spring jump, whether it be regular or with a glitch. It is a little weird with the clamber, to be honest. You have to hold crouch right after you do the spring jump to give you extra height, and you have to just spam clamber, and it's not going to be like directly like it's like right on the corners of these TVs, and the visual cue does not correlate well with where you're actually clambering. It seems like you're clambering the bottom one when it happens, but like that's the height you're at, but you clamber the top one and then it like shoves you up there. Also, in order for this to work right, you have to push forward on your movement stick, or else you'll fall right out from doing it like that. You have to push forward the moment you clamber, and then it'll stick your Spartan up in there and then you're secure. And you can let go of crouch. But another jump that I find useful, and this is specifically for blue spawns, starting off with I guess an oddball game, yeah, because sniper spawns up here. there's a route you can take to grab snipe pretty quickly, especially if you're blue side, right? And so what I found right there, if you notice, I navigated along the top of blue window. I did a thrust slide, and sure, my momentum was almost killed by the time I got to it, but if it's too fast, I'll miss the snipe. If you notice, what I was able to do is I did a thrust slide, and then I jumped, and I missed this platform and was still able to grab the snipe, and I dropped. And the reason I want to drop is because red spawns here. They're most likely going to be shooting at this. If I spend the less time I spend up here, the better, because I'm less likely to take shots and I'm less likely to get hit by this explosive barrel. Often you'll spawn here. You're going to want to jump, hold crouch, and you can avoid the clamber there. Okay, and then you start sprinting. And by right there, if the snipe was up, I would have been able to grab it and then fall without having to actually sit up there and be exposed for a little bit of time. Again, that is only specific to blue side if you get that blue spawn. Otherwise, it really won't apply at any other time in Eden. But definitely, you know, just practicing that run. You know, right there. Even if you're not looking at snipe, you hold that is within close enough proximity where you will pick up that snipe if you just fall and you're holding X as you go past it. And if you notice, every time I do it, I'm not just going this route, because this angle is too far out. If I were to do this, I would actually miss the snipe. That's why when I go for it, I have to actually come out a bit, and then this is that line I'm going for. Okay, so let's just say at the start of the game, I'm here and I push out enough. I do a thrust slide. See right there? I'm just hugging the corner of this blue top of blue window, and I'm like barely riding the edge as I go across, and then I jump. I'm holding X and I drop it. I didn't have to stand up there in order to grab it. Yeah, so I find that to be useful, a quick way to get the snipe. And then from there, what I often do is I do this, because right here, because you get people coming right out of red base by that time. Because a few people will, because they all spawn by red plat, a few people will push out here towards catwalk, and a few will push through red base to right outside. And that navigation right here just lends itself to be able to do this. And you'll often catch someone clambering right there. You get that. I've gotten so many first kills right off that. If you're gonna see, this is a bad run. See how far off I went? You want to delay that thrust slide enough, cutting the angle a lot closer to the snipe, like that. The last two areas I can say that are pretty important skill jumps for me. This one is not that big of a deal. All it is jump, holding, crouch, turning, and clambering. Simply because not many people do it. It's common, or it's not too uncommon, but I mean, not everyone and their brother does it. But it will help you. Let's just say you want to get to catwalk. Most people on catwalk their reticles are pointed in this area, and then over here near security, and then this little pillar thing. They're expecting this. Okay, a clamber here to have a player come up from up here is not as expected, and also it's a very quick way to get to catwalk. Okay, even if you're not really focusing on shooting anyone up there, but let's say you're in a gunfight here. This engagement here, most people do this, which they get flushed out by grenades most of the time, or they go this way, which again, grenades still apply to here. Let's say you're here, you can quickly leave the engagement and you're fine, because they really can't get to you once you're done. So let's say you're shooting them and you're holding them back. You can, even if they don't see you there, they might still expect you to be over by the blue back alley, and then you can get them from behind. I do find that to be useful. So again, you're just walking, jump, hold, crouch, clamber, and you'll hit it. Now the last little bit I'll say, this is more for engagements when there's someone in security, but sometimes you'll find a lot of deaths occur right here, and that's because they get naded out. People are expecting some to come from this door. In fact, a lot of the opening strats for a lot of pro players involve nading right here. Just like that. That might be a little bit too far, more like right here. Yeah, right there. And so that's going to prevent or hit anyone coming up from this security ramp or clambering through this window. And this clamber takes up a lot of time. So one thing you can do to avoid that is, even if it's not off spawn, just spring jumping it, you avoid the clamber. And it's really important, in order to maximize on the usefulness of this, is you have to have your reticle pointed towards this area, because that's where people are most likely going to be. When you clamber, you'll see someone there, and then you can shoot, but by that time they've gotten 1 to 2 shots on you, and most of the time you die from that. So when you clamber this window, you're going to have a delay between when you see a person when you can shoot them, okay? That's as soon as I can do it. And by that time, I mean, this game is, you know, it's been around the block. People know to look through this window and expect to clamber there, okay? And so their reticle is lined up for that. They're not often expecting someone to shoot back at them from that window. So, in order to maximize on the usefulness of this little jump here, your reticle needs to be lined up and ready to shoot. If it's not lined up and you're not shooting and ready to shoot when you're going through that window, you might as well clamber. Because if you're lined up the wrong way and you do it, and then you bring your reticle over, you might as well have just clambered. But when you go through the window, and also, you have to pay attention, use those audio cues. If you see a teammate just died, or if you see a grenade come through this way, you can use that to triangulate the trajectory, figure out, okay, he's probably over here. I'm going to line up my reticle to be ready to shoot as I come through the window. I don't use all that often, but I know it has helped me in times past, and it's just one little thing to help elevate your game. And again, like I said, I do find it to be useful. Not a lot of people think about it. Again, avoiding the clambers as much as possible will really go a long way, because the clamber is so heavily relied upon. They miss a lot of opportunities that they could be one up in a gunfight or something like that. If I know that there's someone in the security area, I do find that to be really useful. There may be some times where a lot of times I won't like purposefully do that. You know, if I'm just moving, I may do that. But if I happen to know the situation going into it, I may find this to be a useful strategy. So those are my thoughts and go-to skill jumps for Eden. Hopefully you guys found it useful. If there's anything that you guys found useful or helpful or need clarification on, be sure to let me know. Again, I'm always looking forward to helping you guys out. If there's anything that you think I maybe left out that you guys use that I didn't cover, let me know. And yeah, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm still trying to grow my YouTube channel. Looking forward to bringing more awesome content for you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.